So I'm going to welcome everybody, and I'm going to just explain a little bit about what we're doing. So this is the Charter's EdNet forum, we call it. It's our educational network forum, and it's the Charter's way to experience new philosophies, pedagogies, and methodologies of education as they're practiced today all around the globe. And the intention of this is to offer the forum to cover relevant topics from conception of the child to parenting and exploring the continual timeline of learning to the end of life. These sessions usually take place on the third Thursday of the month, and we're very, very happy to have James here with us today. James is a passionate and devoted peace advocate. He's a relationship builder. He's a peacemaker. He's a civic community development educator with authentic dialogue, communication skills practitioner, and a facilitator. And he's president of the founder of a nonprofit, the UFPACI, United for Peace Against Conflicts International. And he's based in Côte d'Ivoire. I know that he's got a lot more on his timeline than I can put in a couple of minutes. So I'm actually going to let him tell us all about this project, peace leadership program, and whatever else he wants to introduce us to. So I'm very pleased to have him here. So James, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you so much, Merida. It's such an honor and a privilege to invite me to EdNet Forum by the Charter for Compassion. And I want to say a big thank you to Marilyn and all the staffs of the Charter for Compassion who has invited me and given me this floor to share with all of us here. My format is not to teach, but rather to share. And again, I believe that each and every one of us from different educational backgrounds have different conception, definition on peace and leadership. But I want to emphasize here that whatsoever you'll be hearing from me, the terms I will be using are customized, personally experienced on this journey for the past 13 years. And I will be sharing also from past success stories with images where these principles have been applied and possible outcomes, because I know that the test of truth is experience. Without further ado, I will need us to ground this moment with just a minute of silence by just being quiet. Centeredness into ourselves. If you're comfortable to close your eyes, if you're comfortable to off your camera, but in that 1 minute, let's just center this moment, connecting to one another's heart from where we are to create that global connection. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. To take us moving in this beautiful moment together, before I share any slide that I have prepared for this section together, I will begin with the permission with Merida. Merida is going to help us to explore its journey together by beginning with few prompts. We have only 2 minutes to explore each of the prompts to save us time, because I believe we have so much together to share today. So over to you, Merida.
Okay. Would you like me to put them in breakout rooms, James? Or
Yeah,
shall we all stay here and share in 2 minutes?
I think breakout room will be, we are already up to 14. So I think
Okay.
breakout room will be more snappy and yeah.
Okay. So, and in pairs, right?
Mm,
So what the prompts are, I'll read them out right now so that you have them. I'll put them in the chat and then I'll be sending them every 2 minutes to you through the messages. The first one is what brought you here today and what do you hope to gain by participating in this program? The second one is what inspires you, what is your passion and what excites you? The third one is when describe when you have engaged or experienced a successful relationship. What qualities made it successful? The fourth one is how would you describe a successful community and what is needed? And lastly, to have a good relationship with others and the earth, there are requirements. How would you describe these requirements? Okay, off we go.
yeah,
The floor is yours, James, again.
thank you. Yeah.
He
Um,
finally gets to talk. He didn't get to talk in our room. Go ahead.
yeah. Thank you, everyone. Um, just to give 1 or 2 people just 1 minute break, just can you share about what you heard in your group? Just 1, 2 people before we jump in an exercise. We are gonna do an exercise right away. After that, 1, 2 people jumps in, but make it snappy, just in one breath. What did you hear in your group? What stand out for you?
Well, Marilyn and I had a wonderful talk. We really couldn't, the questions popped and disappeared too quickly. They really need to be put into the chat, please, in the future. But we had a wonderful conversation and we've figured out a way to at least partially cover the questions from our own memories. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. Anybody else? Okay, Shelley.
So I just really realized how our differences don't make us different. And the things that we need in our relationships and in community are the same needs. And the things that have us show up and feel safe and welcome are the same.
Thank you so much, Shelley. Yeah. Anyone else? Okay. Okay. Thank you so much for that recap, that sharing. We are going to do something very significant now. And why this exercise? Each and every one of us today, in one way or the other, on your individual life, in your relational life, in the community experience, or in a system relationship, and in a corporation, we have in one way experienced someone we feel against us or someone antagonizing with our what we call opinion or perspective, yeah, we feel that often. Maybe today, someone in your neighborhood or a colleague you feel, or even your home, maybe your husband, or even your children, even your friends, somehow you felt inside you deeply that why should this individual that I love so much, or I care so much, or maybe you don't, but a distant relation, maybe it's a professional relationship, antagonize with everything you said, or it's just standing against what you just said. That's what how you feel it, and that makes you feel very furious, and you want to react. We know we feel that way. These sections we are going to share is to help us make that discovery of ourselves. And I will be sharing what I discovered from humanistic science about a human being. But before we go there, I'm going to share my screen. We are going to participate on what is an exercise, a caption perspective square. Just see that image and just tell me how many squares that you see. We will want to capture if everyone in the room will see the same thing or we are going to see different. Okay, so Merida, permission to share my screen? Yeah. I don't know. Is my screen, is it visible? Is it visible?
Yes, it is.
Good. This is perspective square.
Yes, sure.
Before I will develop in just 2 minutes about what this exercise, why is this very helpful? I will feel invited. Tell me, type in the chat, how many square could you identify with your best calculation, being very, very calculative? Just look at the square. Tell me, how many squares can you see? And just type it in the chat. So Merida, you help us to catch up with everyone's answer. Let's just do it in 2 minutes. We are done.
Okay. So somebody sees 21, 22.
I found
Least
24.
36, 16, 31,
Hmm.
22 at least, 24, 26, 18. Not one answer is the same. How is that? Okay. Who's right,
Are
James?
we done with that 2 minutes? Is
I
anyone
think
who
everybody's answered there, more or less.
okay,
Yeah.
let me shut down my screen. So let me check. Wow, this is wonderful. I'm gonna tell you who got the right answer. I'm saying 21, 22, 26, at least 36, 16, 31, 22, 24, 26, 18. I'm gonna call just 2 people. I will give you just 1 minute. Just tell us. I will go back to the screen. You look at the square and just develop in one breath exactly how you made your beautiful calculation. So we can follow you, see that calculation as the perfect reality and the right answer. So I will go back to the screen. Yeah. Okay. Let someone jump in. Just tell me, how do you make your calculation, please? Just 2 people only.
I counted the number of horizontal lines
and there were 4 in each line and 4 deep, so that's 4 times 4 is 16, and then there were 2 more at the bottom, so that made 18.
18. Thank you so much. Someone else?
I started on one corner and I counted diagonally a square that would form one square, 4 squares, 9 squares, and then the big one.
Thank you.
Ah.
Okay. Yeah, Shelly.
So I just found 4 more. So I'm changing my answer from 26 to 30.
Wow.
And so there's the 16 individual squares. There's 4 squares. There's 4 squares that are next to each other that you can see that are a quarter of the total square. There's the total square. There's also a square on the inside made of 4 small squares.
Let's listen to them. I don't know.
And then so that got me to 22. And then there's 4 squares where one of their corners is the very center. And each one is made of 4 squares. And they sorry. No, the side is the vertical in the center. And they're next to each other, but they're in the middle. And then there's the 2 vertical ones that are in the center. And then there's ones that are 3 by 3, and there's 4 3 by 3 squares. If you if you count from each corner, and you have 3, so that's the additional 4 that I didn't see until the end.
Okay, so totally, how many square do you see?
I had 30.
Terry, thank you. Hugh, you said you saw how many square, please?
Oh, I saw 18, but I realize now that I didn't understand the question, that you could also lump them together to create extra squares. I understand now how it can be a much larger number, yeah. But
So
I
how
just
many
counted
square?
the
So how
individual
many square?
people. Yeah.
Yeah, how many square can you see now, Hugh?
Oh, well, it's changed a little. 1, 2, 3, 4, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, I guess.
24. Thank you. We're gonna pause there. But before I
Oh,
close,
yeah.
before I
25.
okay, 25, yes. Before I close my screen, I will
26.
just share why is this very important. Now, let's read this. Objective of this exercise, participants realize that others have diverse perceptions and views of life. There is more than one way, my way, to see a situation. People see 16, people see 17, people see 18, and people see 40 and others numbers of squares. Is that helpful? Now,
Yeah, so there is no correct number.
everyone's answer is beautiful.
Opinion is correct.
And the way that they arrived at it was very interesting too.
Yeah,
Scientifically, mathematics.
I think in our breakout room, I had someone saying recognizing everyone's contribution, recognizing everyone's perspective is very, very helpful. Now, to move us further again, I will share my screen for us to go to what I discovered from the humanistic science. Just something I captioned, I just brought it in just like a forward for us to explore something very interesting. Not this? Okay.
Thomas raised his hand.
Yeah, let me share my screen. Let me share my screen. Can you see my screen? Good, good,
Yes,
good.
we can.
Yeah, I will not go to what you have read already in the platform. Now, this is what I discovered. Humanistic science concludes that human beings have the inborn capacity for mental health. It is his destiny to be healthy in body, mind, and spirit. The manifestation of mental ill health, variously called neurosis, psychosis, schizophrenia, paranoia, insanity, etc., are aberrations. The mentally healthy human being manifests detachment, realistic perception, responsibility, courage, love for his fellow man and for the world. Let me just shut down. Looking at this discovery from the humanistic science, I personally have come to the point I begin to wonder how beautifully we are all created with such a wonderful way of seeing things differently that reflects like a rainbow the beauty of cultural diversity. But then why is that being a factor of division, of fight, aggression, antagonism? What is missing? It is obvious that every human being, we are all out for survival or well-being. And in our pursuit of these two dimensions of pursuits on our individual life, we are seeking for meaning, integration, and fulfillment. In that journey, who we are, our values and ideals plays its own part. And we ignore this. We ignore this so much. Our values we stand for, our ideals. I discovered that religion, history, art, science, even in religion, there is such a diverse way of seeing God. Even in science, there is such a beautiful way that the psychologists and sociologists, anthropologists, name them, understand human being. But one thing that is very crucial and important that I have come to realize is that our human intersectionality frames our frames of reference. So how do we transcend that? This is what this section is about to unveil in my next sharing from the slides. So let's go back to my slide. Let's see that self-discovery as the first part of this journey. If we want to see the other not as an enemy, as equal human, if we want to see the community not as a deficit, but a gift, then there is a way we need to really reshape ourselves from our mindset. And I would like everyone here to do personal diagnosis and introspection of who we are, the environment we've been operating, what is that has stand as a threat. And at the end of this sharing, we will come to a point to know if that individual we have been seeing as an antagonist or an enemy or a potential enemy, if that individual needs help or we ourselves needs help. So in that gap, what do we do to be an authentic human being? So let us go to this slide again. We have really talked about the integral peace leadership, and you read it already in the platform. Mm-hmm. Absolutely bringing one aspect of faith in the experiential journey as a self-discovery towards sustainable collaboration that invite individuals or more people in that journey to dignify equally. Human dignity, in my opinion, expresses respect to all human beings on the earth. So going forward to what we have today, on this four modulars transformation that begins with self, most of us here are so conversant with this process. But from my caption, how had it been experienced or practiced and applied to situation? Practically, self-leadership personal peace practice, a space where we strive for a deeper understanding of ourselves to better understand others, a space for self-examination and focus. This process of transformation begins, the step one is self-meditation and transformation, to bring oneself into a zone of inner calm, silence and quietness. This exercise helps to balance one's psychosocial trauma disorder caused by anxiety and fear. Procedure: go to a quiet space, a room, church, synagogue, mosque, yoga, lay down, bow down, knee down, etc. Take any convenient position that will enable you to practice deep self-listening, to connect to your soul, divinity, and the earth. Materials and tools that can help you will be sacred scriptures, sound melodies, soul music, inspiring books on an ethic of the earth to raise your curiosity to begin to ask deep questions like, what is the earth? Who are we humans? How then shall we live? Advantage of this exercise helps to develop mindfulness, compassion, empathy, wisdom. The step two is about the story of me, becoming the change. The entire creating your own experience life story. The best you can tell your story from her, the best you can experience human connection. It reminds us how important it is to be humble, respectful, and constructive in our expression and avoid using derogative words. Step three, expand one's sense of self beyond one story self. Story is the shortest distance between people. Stories transform the future. They go ahead of societal change in order to open space for new attitudes to take root and grow. It is about expanding identification from self, family, neighbor, nation, or life more. The outcome ignites one willingness to practice mindfulness, love, patience, forgiveness, compassion to others, development of one's authentic self, realizing one's unlimited potential for the good of all. Module 2, a space under theories or process to effectively and nonviolently be in relationship with others, a space to learn, understand, and embrace the experience of others. Practically, knowledge of the other. Just like Ms. Jane Nelson Husman said that an enemy is one whose story we have not heard. Interpersonal peace practice process transformation begin with a step. The interpersonal, the inspiration, the transformation, that is the mutual intention of the two individuals involved to consciously listen to explore one another humanity, their fears, the anguish and their hope. Because I personally have discovered that fear and ignorance of the other is like a virus in the system. Procedure. We should all know this. Listening, not talking, is the gift and great role, and the imaginative role. And the true listener is much more beloved, magnetic than the talker, and is more effective and learns more and does more good. The one with the will and skill to listen first has the power to transform the relationship. Step 2, story of us, skillfully laddering the change. The procedure, it is to live and reconcile face to face with our fellow human, who must be speaking with his own voice, revealing one's true face, not any mask. Experience shows remaining distant and invisible, the face of the other faith. Without a face, our humanity diminishes. To restore our humanity, we need to meet face to face. Step 3, uncovering equal social intelligence to release unprecedented creativity, to invent a better future that works for both. It's a peer-to-peer network. Peace building through story sharing. The sharing of life experience and perspective breaks down stereotype, reduces demonization, and put a human face on the other. The process of this deep listening and effective communication is referred as the reflective structured dialogue. Encourages reflection rather than reactivity. It provides an alternative culture of peace, one that promotes open heart, thoughtful speaking, and deep listening. Concerns and caring and compassion can begin to dissolve the bounds of fear, threats, and suspicion. The outcome, interpersonal transformation. Opposing opinion finds common ground. The continuous process of seeing and interacting with another in a way that is true to one's authentic self, releasing one's unlimited potential for good. Model 3, community peace practice. A space for collective action to foster existing communities and to build community even with those who may challenge our work. The transformation process begins by seeing the kinship circle of trust building. I love when someone in my circle, in my group, when we had the breakout room, talked about the circle of love, a safe space. The kinship circle of trust is a community of practice driven on mindfulness, compassion, and wisdom to create mutual understanding from opposing viewpoints. Through deep heart-to-heart communication and listening, it dignifies and humanizes equally. Step 2, stories of now. Envisioning and articulating the change in order to constructive channel the flow. 3, time for collective curiosity. What can we do now? Procedure. This is the leadership for collective wisdom emergence, a network of people seeking to embody and radiate outward principles of collaboration, nonviolence, and wisdom necessary to address existential issues of life. Equipped with tools, skills, and practice necessary to respond effectively. The sustainability of the circle is built under 5 conditions. We are not going to go in each one. Deep listening, suspend certainty, see whole system, gather for emergence, trust in the extraordinary. A quote, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Ancient proverb. Our life exists in relation with people, family, friends, neighbors, colleagues, anonymous strangers, and renowned personalities. In any endeavor, our individual efforts both contribute to and are sustained by our overarching network of people. Outcome, community transformation, the continuous process of seeing and interacting within group in a way that produces synergy, releasing unlimited potential for good within the group. Model 4, global peace practice, a space where systems that increase or foster violence and aggression can be challenged, a system that works towards justice and peace can be fostered or created. This is a cross-border initiative of collective peace leadership, whereby we create awareness on a new perspective of giving attention to the whole humanity through the lens of a global transformation consciousness. from personal, interpersonal, community to collective transformation, whereby we care for ourselves, one another, the earth, releasing unlimited potential for good on the planet. Process. Building a larger community of practice from a grassroots perspective towards a global integration. Concept as a living system where every voices, opinions matters as a piece of solution to the larger solution. It's about sharing common vision, values, and norms to structure understanding, principles, and practice towards building synergy for social and ecological resilience. For example, if Passé Côte d'Ivoire in synergy with Ifred Institute California, Charter for Compassion, United Religion Initiative, joining effort in seeking solution to global threat, to human connection, healing, earth protection. Thank you so much for listening. So I return it back to you for question and answer. What did you hear? What pumps up to you? Over to you, Merida, to help us navigate through question and answer. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, James. That was lovely. Very, very complete, I would say. And I've very much enjoyed that. I do have a couple of questions, but I would like other people to join in first. So again, the floor is yours. The floor belongs to everyone. So Shelley?
So, what do you think are the ways of rolling out this process effectively? Because I've spoken with you before, and you said start small. And so if you know, so there's a community, and it would be good for the dialogue to begin and for the listening to begin. And you know, how do you propose to identify where to begin and with whom to start and who to start bringing together into face to face? Who gets face to face first?
Okay, thank you so much, Shelley. I should go with this question first. What you're asking for a community facilitation framework, that's what you're asking for. I think so. If there are other people who have more ideas to contribute, please feel invited to jump in. I think in this effort about community, the first step is about analysis, conflict analysis, or having a clear understanding about the community that you want to work with. To make it a little bit snappy, since because of time, there are people we call connectors and dividers in a community. So in that connectors, there are the people that want something like community incivility to end, and maybe they don't have maybe resources, or they have resources, for example. Resources are different dimension, whatever you may call it as an asset. So you have to communicate your vision one step at a time. Just like myself, I began in my barber shop. So I use my barber shop as the place to communicate in my community that ripples to what you can see today. I think being honest to yourself and identify with the story of self, how you feel about the story of now, what is affecting the community, and how you relate yourself to it in such a deep way and honesty. That individual will not see you as a partisan to any group or affiliate to any political, any antagonist group or something like that. You see you just like a human that is concerned about the well-being of where you share as a common heritage, the community. So he will listen to you. At the end, you said what you shared makes a lot of sense. We feel the same way. And I'm happy you are sharing this. So how can I connect to you? How can I help? Or you said, maybe I don't have what to contribute, but I think I contribute my heart. What you just shared, I feel touched, feel invited. Let me listen more. Just that listening connection is the first place to begin the healing. That listening connection within you and the other is the first place of the miracle, of what I would say, the ripple effect of how the community, because you are beginning to be the change you want to see. Is that helpful?
Yeah. Begin with me.
Yeah. Begin with yourself.
Yeah.
Any other question?
May I please share an example?
Yeah.
Is
Yeah,
that
go
okay?
ahead.
Rather
Yeah,
than
sir.
a question for you? And then maybe you can
Yeah, go
talk
ahead.
about the example from your perspective. Okay,
Absolutely.
so I posted on Facebook something about a boycott of a particular car product called a Tesla in the United States. And it was very interesting, the responses I got. Mostly the people that didn't agree with what I posted talked about the violent protests that are happening against Tesla. So one thing I did was I responded respectfully to the couple of people that were so against what I was saying. And I was heartened to find out that both of them said, you're so respectful to us, you know, and so that means I achieved my goal of speaking respectfully. And I had that feedback from the people who didn't usually get that. The second thing I did was I researched locally. So, you know, we were just talking our ideas. They thought all the protests were violent. I thought they weren't. So instead, I went and researched and found a news story in a local to my area protest. And I posted the link to the story with pictures and everything. But then I went further and I called the Tesla dealership and talked to one of the salespeople who said, oh, the protests were nothing. They affected us. We didn't feel threatened. There was no violence. So I had a verbal confirmation from the actual dealership, a person who worked there, about the protests being nonviolent. So how would you, what insights do you take, Offuh, from what I just shared? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sabe. Number one, you spoke respectfully and you shared respectfully. In your blog, you communicated respectfully. And that is so important, is the culture of nonviolence. And respect in my denotes is valuing the other people, willingness for conscious listening and empathy. So the people who read your blog or what you posted felt your heart. They felt how concerned you feel about that situation. So that is so key. You connected to them. When they replied, you spoke respectfully. So it's so very important that we know how to harmonize and communicate our opinions to the public. These days that the landscape of the technology runs so speed and is growing so rapidly. We know about fake news, disinformation, misinformation that exacerbates violence and that can create a physical potential violence. So you communicated beautifully with being very sensitive with your use of words. And coming to the protest as regards to the case of the Tesla, I think that you also showed a concern. So I think that whenever you show a genuine concern over a situation that confront a community, you are seen as a community builder, a peacemaker, a peace builder, name it, peace advocate, whatever people may call you. So the same way I saw 12 years ago, when I saw the war in Diokwe in Cote d'Ivoire, when the government, the United Nations Civil Affairs, they could not design a framework for intervention. But myself, without any prior background, even in peace studies or conflict resolution in so many years ago, but my heart was authentic in my barber shop. So the community felt my heart over the deaths, the massacre going on in Jokwe, and people came and we built a team. And I led that team, it was successful. So the account, the ripple effect, we can see the ripple effect even in Cote d'Ivoire in so many places. So I think let your heart be authentic. When you see a story of now that affect community, you identify genuinely. Don't take any side. Don't be delusive. Don't be delusive. Be authentic and identify yourself, how it affects you. I think it will draw momentum and attention, and people will listen to you from the heart. Yes? Yeah. Fitri, is that helpful? Sabe?
Yeah, thanks so much, James, for your presentation. I'm Fitri from Indonesia. So yeah, I'm so grateful for joining the Peaceful Leadership Forum organized by Forum. So my question is like the the peaceful and then peaceful that implemented in the community. But recently in Indonesia, like today, the government of Indonesia passed the revision of the military law that it will be, undermine the democracy, human rights, women's rights, and it will like exacerbate the shrinking civic space and the erosion of democracy. And then the community, like in the Jakarta, people then doing the protest to defend their rights, that military could not involve in the government, like to be office, because if they become the office, then it will, everything, then it will be military approach. But then the community then, protest with some of them with violence, but some of them with non-violence, like dialogue. But as a civil society, we face them that we have a, hierarchy as a civil society, because we face with the, the elite politics, the militaries, and then the parliament, that they have a power, like how then the community with the peacefully, like, strengthen the power to end the military approach in Indonesian context. Because with the elite politics, we are with those who, nepotisms, and those who, as an elite and parliament, and the corrupter. And then how then we as a community peacefully like advocate to defend our rights. That's my question. Thank you, James.
Yeah, thank you so much, Fitri. Martin Luther King Jr. already, remind us that militarism, racism, poverty is triple evil. And we all know that military regime is a threat to democracy. And not only Indonesia, in Africa, we see the same system threat, the system issue. So I think in this situation, the people, but one thing you should know, I would say, the people comes together as a people to denounce the military framework that the government want to bring into the system, or the military approach over the civilian approach, the rule of law, democracy in governance. So in view of that, the people comes, it could be a parliamentary policy advocacy, whereby the peace advocates in the community, comes together, put their signatories together as a petition against that idea by the government. I think the more you build momentum over that situation for the government to hear your voice, it is very helpful. But one thing that we have observed in recent years is that whenever advocates, civil rights, human rights advocates comes together, they face persecution. They face so much torture, and that is also a threat to the effort of advocacy for freedom, for democracy, for justice, for equity, etc. So I think that there is a constitutional approach that should be given onto that. But at the same time, because the Indonesian government, I believe Indonesia is a Muslim-oriented community, as a matter of fact. So I think that the people comes together and keep coming together and having their voice heard in a very peaceful way. But just like I said, most times it doesn't end so easily. But I believe that building momentum on what democracy stands for and doing it in a very pacific way without using violence is very helpful to make your voice heard. And that can really, can challenge the status quo, and change could be possible. Is that helpful?
Yeah, I think some of the non-government organization doing like a peacefully like joint statement, and then dialogue with the parliament, and then to advocate through the constitutional court. But because we are facing the systemic the system is like that undermines the democracy, and then the erosion of the or regression of the democracy. So for me, I think there is like a two way. Yeah. So some of them who like progressive way, like the activists, young activists, then students, they did protest in the front of parliaments, and once they do like to the gates of parliaments, and because it will be pressure for the parliaments. But some of us then doing peacefully, like join peace national and internationally, and also peacefully means like we can also report to the UN. And I think it's like many way also to do the peaceful.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is expanding your networks in terms of building synergy with other organizations globally, so that your voice be heard even at the United Nations Security Council, having an insight, people who really want the same change like you do, that are seated in the government, even in Indonesia. Not everybody said yes to the military rulership idea, but I think there are people who can serve as connectors that can help your voice to be heard, even to the international communities. And I believe that can be very helpful going forward. Thank you so much. So any other person, or we turn it over to Merida? Merida, how little minutes do we have left?
We're coming to the top of the hour. We have 2 minutes left, but I would really like our community to know how they can get in touch with you. What kind of logistics do you offer? Do you open spaces for people? Do you have a circle yourself, or do they have to create a circle and you join them? Is it all of the above? Let us know more about that side so that we can continue this conversation in some way, both with the charter and with all the partners here that have joined us today, and those that are going to watch the recording. And I'm actually going to share here some web pages that you can all visit. We'd love you to join us at other events. So we have the Compassionate Action Conference coming up very soon, and we opened the call for proposals. So it would be great that, and it went into a personal message here. So I'm going to share it with everyone. Just 1 second. Here we go. Yes. So I would really love everybody here to take a look at those pages, to join us in other meetings. And I think that's going to be like the next step forward for us. But also, please, James, share how people can contact you and what we can do next.
Thank you so much, Merida. Yes. This overview over the integral peace leadership model is just a tip of the ice. Each models has such a potential resources for curriculum development. I have already, it can be offered as an educational resource, an educational tool, and also for educational setting and also community setting. So yes, if you have a program you want to stage on peace leadership model, you feel to invite me into your space. And also, if you want to create this practice as a learning opportunity for youth empowerment, for youth program, for intergenerational programs, feel free to reach out to me. It stands out, just like I said, as an educational setting and also community setting. There is so much to really get out of this to make our world a better place. So you can connect to me through LinkedIn, and our website is under construction. But my name, just type my name on Google, you'll find me very easily. So feel invited, and I'm there with you. Count me in.
Offuh, would you like people to be able to watch the wonderful interview we had the other day on Substack?
Feel free anywhere to share your link. Yeah, feel free to share your link.
It's about almost a 1 hour interview, and it was on peace building and community building, conflict resolution. And it was really a lovely kind of authentic dialogue. If you want to go on to Substack, it's free. You can watch the interview there. It's from 3 days
If you
ago.
could share the link in the chat, I'll be happy to share it with the people who registered for this meeting, and
Okay.
I'll see the possibility of
Yes.
sharing it through our social media as well.
I think I did. Can you see it there?
No.
No?
Oh,
Yeah, it's
yes.
there. I see
Okay.
it. It's
Yes,
there.
I got it. I got
Okay.
it. Okay, great. So thank you everybody for being here. It was a very, very nice meeting, EdNet. I've learned loads. I hope everybody else has as well. And it's been wonderful. And I would really like to see you all at other events, charter events. Invite us to your events as well. And we'll be very happy to just keep on this pulse that we've got it started here. Okay, so thank you so much and hope to see you all soon. I don't want to leave you.
Thank you, everyone.
Can I stay on with you to
Absolutely.
find out how to do that?
Thank you, Offuh.
Sure.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Yes.
Thank
you.
you.
Lots of
Bye.
peace.
Thank you. Love you all.